Mike, turn your games down.
Welcome to a very spooky episode of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's stalking their prey with me on this Halloween?
Hello, it is Dr. Kenneth Sanity.
And this is Bill Tucker from A Gamer Looks at 40, and death has come to your little podcast, Mike.
And I am Kyle, and I also just have to say, I can't wait to get it alone with you. Just the two of us.
That's good. Since if you were listening to this the day it came out, it is Halloween 2023. We are here to talk about a movie that was actually, I think, my idea, and I actually didn't mind a horror movie. That's weird, huh? Halloween. That came out in 1978, directed by John Carpenter, written by John Carpenter and Deborah Hill. And what studio was it that it came out of? Compass International Pictures, whatever that is. I know it was a production company that really didn't have any movies, from what I remember, or had one.
Yeah, it was more of a smaller boutique type of thing.
So I was under the lie that I had seen this movie before, and that proved, and as Maury would say, that was a lie, I found out when I watched this movie 2 days ago. That's my history with it. I've never seen it. Ken, how about you?
Oh, man. Like, it's not a cliche when I say I grew up with this movie. Like, this is probably one of the first 5 scary movies that I saw growing up. I'm sure I probably saw it far too young. That seems to be a pattern.
I'm noticing, yes.
Gee, why am I weird? I don't know. But, no, it's got a special place in my heart.
Okay. And Bill?
I think I could just copy-paste everything I've said on all these horror episodes. I think I saw this. There was like a period. I think everyone has this moment where you had a period of your life where you're discovering these things. And mine was with my buddy who was really into horror movies, Joey, at sleepovers. So we would see all the classics again, like Nightmare on Elm Street. And Halloween was one of those I saw. And for me, I wasn't really into horror movies. It's more of a recent thing I've been getting into more and more. And so I think I saw it when I was maybe 11, 12. And then I was like, oh, I saw that movie. And then like never again for 20 years. So I think this might be the 3rd time I've seen it all the way through. But this movie is one of those that it's so ingrained into the culture, like a lot of the things we've done recently, that it's hard to escape. Even if you haven't seen it, you've probably seen it. But that's kind of my experience with it. So this was not a new watch through. This was like I don't know, going back to an album I haven't listened to in like 10 years. Oh, man, that's a good record. I forgot about that one.
All right. And Kyle?
Well, I saw the movie at first in my teenage years, and I really liked it. It's not so much that I grew up with horror movies, but like I was a bit of a scaredy cat as a kid, and like I was afraid of being scared and that type of thing as, you know, a little kid and everything. I actually saw Scream, the first Scream at a young age, and that really made an impression. That really made an impression for me, and quite the impression for me. And like, watching and growing up with the Scream movies, I actually started to really fall in love with not only slashers, but horror in general. And I finally getting to see the original Halloween as a teenager, I was like, oh yeah, okay, I get why this is so well loved and so well renowned. Like, this movie's like, pardon my French, this movie's fucking excellent. Like, this is great. Like, I like the characters, especially Laurie. I like the cinematography. It's beautiful. I love I shout outs to, I think it's Dean Cudney, who's the director, not director, what we'll call that, cinematographer, I think. Mm-hmm. And yeah, and John Carpenter, of course, is the director. Yeah, just like the movie looks so damn good. And like,
still does.
The color tinting of it all, like with the film, is so beautiful, especially with like,
oh, we'll get into all that,
like,
sure.
Especially with like at night when you just see that bit of blue, and like it really affects the mood of it, and it looks so damn good. And yeah, this movie is so damn good. Like,
see,
this
that's why
is excellent.
I got you here to join us. So one thing that I've said before, and this is becoming more and more like becoming the show, Bill and Ken, you guys have infected me with paying attention to movies. Like, when I was watching this, like, Tiff got bored. I'm like, the music, the sound, the shots. I'm like, yeah, great. I'm like, who am I? Like, where does this even come from?
The fact that you're pointing out music cues is a success in itself. If nothing else.
Hell yeah.
The fact
I mean,
that you're watching these
I was
things
like,
with
oh, they got the music is building up now. Oh, we're getting suspense. Oh, I'm like
audio on. The fact you're watching these things with audio on is a triumph.
Yes.
and
And we have achieved our goal, Ken. We've done a good work in the world.
All right, cool. That's it, everybody. My last episode.
I
See you
did-
later.
That's it.
I
Bye.
appreciated this movie completely for what it was. Like, and that's not something I can say about majority of movies that we've covered recently. Like, I completely was engrossed in this movie. I watched it in 2 sittings, but I didn't want to. I was like, no, let's finish it. I'm like, I want to watch the rest of this movie. But Tiff was like, no, let's go to bed. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I'll put on something else and we can, because she just wasn't into it. And I was just like, and it's not like me. Like, when I watch other horror movies, I'm like, is this over yet? And this one, I'm like, man, I'm on board. So that was interesting in this viewing.
Now, what's interesting to me, and maybe you can answer this question, is like this movie is an astounding movie. It's extremely well shot. Carpenter and Cundy did some of the best work done in the 80s when they worked together. Do you think that because this movie is so important, you may have paid attention to it more?
No, because that doesn't register in my brain all the time.
Okay.
It's more of just, it grabbed me. It grabbed me and I was just into it and I was very interested in where it was going and because of the sound, the way the camera was shot, stuff like that just drew me in versus like Blair Witch where I couldn't even pay attention. I still feel bad for it because I normally don't do that on the show, but I just could not get into that movie. No, I mean, I wasn't even looking at my phone that much in this movie. I was just entertained. I was like, this is just good.
That shocks me. You put down the Marvel Snap and watched the movie all the way. That
does shock me too. Marvel Snap got put on after, of course. But
now the next step of your journey, your move into film snobbery. Let's just be honest. That's what Ken and I. And I don't know, Colin, maybe you too. Maybe that's what you engage in. Your next step.
Yeah, I can be a snob.
Okay, so your next step in food and food snobbery is you have to sit and watch the whole thing at once. Can't take the break. You can't watch half of it on TV, quarter of it on the computer while you're editing, and then an eighth of it, and an eighth while when you're in Home Depot shopping for shelving. I think that's what you're doing during.
Yeah, I did that with Sin City.
Yeah, I know exactly. That's why I bring it up. You need to watch it in one continuous thing as a film because it really does. For me personally, especially with horror, like you need that continuity. If I take that break, my brain stops. The momentum is lost for me.
Yeah, no, I can agree with you. I actually bought this. It was either rent it or buy it. I'm like, I'm just gonna buy this, and I can see myself at some point putting this movie back on.
Good for you.
And that's not something I would ever say about any other horror movies we covered. I will be not ever putting Hereditary back on or freaking good movie. But
I want to put Hereditary back on tonight. I want to watch that again after our conversation.
Oh man, that was a movie where I edited the podcast and I was still getting chills listening to our conversation just thinking about that film. So yeah, no, that ain't getting put on again. But this was a movie because there's no gore, because there's very little blood, and it didn't. Yeah. And that's what appealed to me in a slasher movie. The reason why other people aren't here for. So, and I know the story behind it, that the guy producing it didn't want a gore movie. He wanted something different. And I think I appreciate it more for that because it's trying that idea of cycle where it's more of, don't show, let the imagination take over. And I appreciated that more. Mm-hmm. Like just the opening of this movie with the, where it starts out in Halloween 1963 and the way the music is going and all that intro to leading up to what's going to happen. It's so tense.
It is. And I think a lot of it is that killer POV shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's extraordinary. I think this movie for me, I find this movie very nostalgic almost as opposed to scary. I think this is as Ken's mentioned, I'm sure Kyle mentioned, a wonderfully crafted movie. This is a wonderfully crafted movie. Is it scary?
I think it depends on the year when you watch it.
I'm exactly right. And I'm trying to put my 1979 blinders on. I was not born in 1979. Damn it. Don't make that joke. Don't make that joke, young person.
I know your gamer looks at 40.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So.
Not 50. Not 50. I'll get there eventually. My clock is ticking. But I think this is a beautifully crafted movie. And one of my favorite is this beginning moment where it's a 7-minute, I want to say, one shot. It feels like 7 minutes. I don't know exactly how long the one shot is, but it's a really great introduction to not only what the movie's about, which of course is this crazy killer, but the tone and the suspense that you're going to be set up for. I always say a movie should tell you what it is right up front, or at least tell you something about what it is, even if it's going to subvert that expectation eventually. But this one is masterful the way it's done. Just the pacing of it is gorgeous. It's great.
Oh yeah, and everything with the way they do it. I didn't know this, but the movies that made us, it's two shots. When he pulls out the mask because they ran out of film, that's when they reset it, but you can't tell.
Oh, when he puts on the mask, you mean?
Yeah, that's when you lose the vision for it because they didn't have enough film.
Okay, well, that's fair. That's good.
1978.
Good place. That's a good place to do it. Yeah, perfect.
But I mean, that just grabbed it, and the fact that you don't even, I mean, like if you were just watching the first time, you didn't really know what's going on. You just see a kid looking through you see eyes looking through a window, and then you might figure out it's a kid when you see his arm pick up the mask. But just the fact that and then the way they say, oh, they're gonna be home by 10. I guess I didn't notice this till a YouTube video told me, but you can see the clock, and then it's getting close to 10, and it's just, and like the killing is so simple, and it was just great. Like I wasn't, because they don't show much. You just have the music really playing, and that does it for you. Like it's very reminiscent of Psycho, which I actually do like the original Psycho.
Yeah, good movie.
I haven't seen it in years, but I remember liking it because I'm okay with that tone and that style.
It's an Alfred Hitchcock classic, Yeah. Like, a damn good movie.
And as I'm watching the movie in the background right now, I'm seeing a scene I do not remember at all. I'm watching the TV version. Was Donald Pleasence talking to some doctors?
Oh, you said the TV version. There's a bunch of extra scenes filmed for the TV version because when the movie got to premiere on network television a couple years after it was released, the movie was actually too short, so John Carpenter filmed some additional scenes.
Oh, okay. Because I was just looking on YouTube, I was just going to grab something throw in the background to remind me as we're talking, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait, why am I seeing new scenes and all? And the problem is, there's a part of me now that when we get done at some point, I'm going to probably put this on and watch this version because I'm upset I missed things. I don't ever say this with horror movies. Like I want more. Like I actually looked up the Halloween timeline after this. I'm like, we should cover more of these.
Oh God!
Don't look at the timeline.
No. Oh, Mike. No.
Why? I just found a chart because I knew there's multiple timelines, and I know there's Halloween 2 through 6 or whatever the hell.
Yeah, see what you're saying here? Charts, timelines, 2 through 6, and then we go to names. You see, this is not the mark of quality, my friend. This is not. These are not additive. Okay, I don't know. No, go right ahead. I haven't seen a lot of these, to be honest. So I'm just.
I know. Yeah.
Speaking from.
I just heard the newest trilogy is supposed to be good.
Yeah,
it is.
I'll go to bat for the David Gordon Green movies, and I'll also go to bat for the second Rob Zombie movie, and I'll also go to bat for Halloween H2O because it's a lot of fun, and Jamie Lee Curtis gets to be a badass, but that's about it.
Yeah, no, I don't know if that should happen, but I mean, just the fact that that's how I felt after this movie is not normal Mike. So that just has to be on recording as proof that Mike liked a horror movie. But that's because it wasn't gory, and I'm sure the other ones would be gory, and the mic won't be as fond. You know what?
So. It really does sound. It sounds like you did more than like it. It sounds like you connected with it.
I did. I mean,
yeah.
The fact that it's a child that kills his sister. I don't have any siblings, by the way, so I did not kill any sisters. But just the idea of the fact that it's a child who does this, and then he and his parents just come home, and it's I was just thinking to myself in that scene, and this connected with me hugely. Why I mentioned it too is just they come home and they look at him and they're like, what happened? What are you doing, Mike? And then, he has the bloody knife, and it's to even think about that family when they go upstairs and the horror that they're going to figure out in the next, couple minutes. I don't know, something about that really connected with me.
I know what this is.
So.
Because we watched Hereditary, you're very keened in on family issues.
It's not. Yeah, there's more to it that I'm not going to discuss on here. But there's reasons. So
the reason why you connect to it is because you stalk babysitters. It's okay, Mike. You understand. You wear a white William Shatner mask. You stalk babysitters.
I love the fact that it's a Shatner mask so much because I'm a big Star Trek fan, and I love that fact.
You have a collection of comically large butcher knives and chef knives? Come on.
Yes, exactly.
Does a chef knife really have to be that big? I've shopped for chef knives in my life. I've never seen one that big. That's a big old honking baby. I guess not. No, I guess I'm not going to that little town in Idaho. Is it Idaho? Yeah.
I mean,
little town in Idaho to that
Illinois?
Illinois or Idaho? I can't.
Illinois. It's Illinois.
All the same to me.
It's supposed to take place in Illinois, but the palm trees are different.
Hey, just like Nightmare on Elm Street. It was Ohio. Yeah. Palm trees in Ohio.
Yeah.
As somebody in Illinois right damn now, there's no palm trees.
Ironically, for like almost all of the Halloween movies are supposed to take place in Illinois. Literally none of the damn movies are ever filmed in Illinois. The first two movies are filmed in California. Halloween's 4, 5, and 6 are filmed in Utah. Still not Illinois. Halloween H2O is set and filmed in California. Halloween 8 was not filmed was filmed also in California. The David Gordon Green movies are filmed in North Carolina. The Rob Zombie movies are filmed in Georgia. Like, holy shit, none of these damn movies. Yeah.
Well, you can still imitate the Midwest enough. You just have to avoid certain things. Like, you can't be like, oh, look, a cactus over here in the Midwest.
Yeah, exactly.
There are none. If there were, I wouldn't have got as excited as I did when I visited New Mexico and had to have a picture taken in front of a cactus, okay? If they were around here, I wouldn't have gotten that excited, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
So.
With the $0 that this movie had to make itself, I can understand them wanting to film it in places that were convenient as opposed to, hey, cinematographer, you live 3 doors down from a creepy dilapidated house. Do you think anyone would bother us if we spent 3 days shooting? Anyone would like knock on the door? Nope. Great. That's what you do when you do independent movies. You just use what you have.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just use what they have. Now, once you get to Halloween 8, which, by the way, if you're working on Halloween 8, can you possibly say to yourself, this is going to be my best effort? Like, can you honestly say to yourself, this is going to be the Halloween to make all Halloweens? I don't know. Anyway, so I can totally, that doesn't bother me too much. I didn't notice palm trees, though. Was that an actual thing that was in?
There's like, I think they try to hide them, but there's like one or two shots.
Okay.
There are a couple. And it's fine.
It doesn't bother me. I mean, it's not as obvious as like Nightmare on Elm Street was.
No.
Because I didn't catch them until I was watching a YouTube video pointing them out. Where in Nightmare on Elm Street, literally on the bridge they're on, there's the palm trees. I'm like, wait a second, but that's neither here nor there.
Funny thing about the palm tree talk of like noticing the palm trees. Weirdly enough, as a kid, well, not as a kid, as a teenager, but I guess, as a kid, when I first saw Halloween and like saw it again, like a couple of years later as older teenager and young adult, I actually didn't notice the palm trees as my clue in that it was filmed in California. My clue in was that in some of the scenes of the schools, of the elementary school that Tommy goes to and the high school that Gloria goes to, I saw like there's a brief shot, like only like for like a second or two, like you blink and you'll miss it, of like outdoor hallways with lockers, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's how I know this is filmed in California, because
very good.
Of course, in California, you can have schools with outdoor lockers because the weather is going to be good for it. Like,
like Midwest too.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, you couldn't do that in Illinois in the middle of the winter, right? Your locks in your locker would freeze. You'd be sitting there
exactly.
on the lock trying to get it to turn properly.
Yeah, exactly.
Well observed. Well done.
Thank you.
I do like how then it cuts to 1978 in October, obviously. This part I felt was, for some reason, it was kind of tense to me. Like the whole thing when they're just driving in the car with Donald Pleasence, which I appreciate that actor because he was Dr. Evil in one movie. Yeah. And like, just having just that little scene where they're talking, him and the nurse in the car where they're driving. I do find it hilarious that when I was watching the behind the scenes stuff, he was drunk off his ass during the scene because he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to be there. Mm-hmm. So he had like 2 bottles of wine. They were saying he was just drunk, but he did just fine drunk.
He did. Yes. He's a pro, Donald Pleasence. And how good is he in this? He brings a seriousness and, for lack of a better term, I don't want to sound like a aforementioned pompous film person, but a gravitas to the movie.
He does.
He brings a weight, definitely. And he brings a drama to it that without him, this wouldn't be as tense. And I think it'd be a little silly. I love what he brings to the table in this. He's my favorite parts of this movie, full stop.
Yeah. He does a really good job. And I had to remember bits and pieces of him in this film. And that's why I thought I'd seen this film. Because I know I've seen parts of it, but when I was watching the whole movie, I realized I had never seen this whole thing before. Like, I'd never seen the scene leading up to this when they get to the asylum and they see the patients outside. So I'm assuming that's supposed to be that Michael Myers broke out and was killing people, or essentially, right? I'm taking it. They never say, but I'm assuming that's what happened. Like, that's why they're out. If that's ever
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Ken and or Kyle can speak more to it, but I don't think they really do explain because they pull up with the rain coming down, which is a great atmospheric thing. And of course, rain coming down is always fun and atmospheric. And you see, of course, the patients. I'm trying to think of a nice word to say. The patients are wandering around outside, and you're like, this should not be the case. But they never bring up why this happened. So I don't think it matters. But I don't think they bring it up.
It mattered to me, but no, it doesn't. It doesn't affect the movie. I like it because it shows you. It shows you without telling you something's wrong right when they get there. They're like, they let the patients outside, just wander around the grounds with like, it's raining. So obviously no, because this is not how you're taking care of people.
Yeah, if I had to hazard a guess, Ken's imagination runs wild. I would probably say that Michael Myers probably killed all the orderlies to just open up the doors.
Yeah.
Like that to me makes sense, in as much as things can make sense like that.
Fair.
I just wanted more. I don't know why, but I liked it. I like how when I did catch the wrench though when he's breaking the window. Like when they have the climb on, you see the hand smash the window. I caught that there was something on the hand that wasn't supposed to be there.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until I watched the making of where they were like, yeah, we had a wrench hidden in his arm because he couldn't break the window otherwise. And it didn't take it away from me because I just noticed something was wrong with the hand. I didn't notice what it was. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Now, like, if you want to talk about like that shot specifically, the nurse backed up to the door, the glass spider webbing off of his hand. I would hang that in my house. So many of these shots in here are just beautiful examples of
stunning. Absolutely.
Creepy.
Like, there's even a point to her smoking because you see the matches and that's going to play a part a little bit later.
Oh, yeah. I mean, not much of a point, but.
No, but the fact that the matches go on when he finds a truck later to this is the same, the matches are the same matches that he had. So, I mean, to me, little things. I know it wasn't, I don't understand why I was so into this movie.
It respects you. That's one thing I will absolutely say about this. This movie respects your time. Like, it doesn't,
it is short.
Tell things, it doesn't beat you over the head with exposition. It doesn't walk you up to every single plot point. It's content to just be itself and treat you like you're smart. It's like you can make your own connections.
There's no fat in this movie. There's this is a lean, mean movie. And I really do respect it for that. Just like you said, Ken, this is a movie that, it respects your time, respects you as a person. I think one of the things, too, that you delved into, Mike, and I think one of the reasons you really got into it was there wasn't so much other stuff going on. It was a very simply presented story, and a lot of it is really seeped in everyday, not mundane stuff, but chatting with friends, and we're getting ready for the dance and babysitting the kids, and all of the scary stuff, the actual scares per se, happen in the back third of the movie. So you have an hour. It's an hour of buildup. Like this movie, whatever it is. This movie is an hour of buildup. And that's rare because movies you've seen recently, and I think of all the movies we've seen horror-wise, this might be the one that is as patient as that, where it just builds and builds and builds and character and builds. You get to know them. And then boom, you have your back third with all the action, quote unquote.
And I appreciate that. I mean, like Hereditary kind of did it. I mean, Hereditary had stuff building, but when you get those last fucking 20 minutes, I want to turn the movie off because I was freaked out. And this movie didn't do that because, again, 1970s, so they weren't able to do the things that bother Mike. I appreciate that. But no, I was so engrossed. And of course, as I always have to do, it's after he escapes in the car, we get the title screen. Because, Bill, we have to say it when we get the title screen.
We do.
And I couldn't remember Jamie Lee Curtis's character. That's why my note says Jamie all the time. But it's like they don't I think they say it here and there, but for the longest time I was like, I don't know what the hell her name is, and I had subtitles on.
Yeah.
But just little things. Like when you first see Laurie walking with the kid and they're like, oh, I gotta drop the key off at the Myers house. Like if you're not paying complete attention, if you realize, the person that died in the beginning with Meyer, here's the Meyer house, same place, blah blah blah. Like again, little things, and I liked it. And when she drops the key off, and I think you hear the music, and you just see the face looking at her like there's someone in the house. And I'm like, damn it, I'm in again. Like, and so much stalking. I love how many scenes they have of just supposed to be from Mike Myers' point of view, just watching people. It was great.
One scene I particularly want to shine a light on is that scene where she's in school and she's just kind of off in her own dreamland, looks outside and sees Michael Myers. Then she, kind of looks again and he's gone. But did y'all catch what the teacher was talking about?
I did not.
Yes, I looked it up, but I don't remember. Oh, Christ.
The teacher was talking about fate.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Fate.
Just like they did in Hereditary, right before everything horrible went down.
Okay, that's cool.
So I think that's a nice little nod that Hereditary threw that in for this. But it also kind of shows that Laurie Strode is just doomed at this point.
Yeah.
Like, Michael's going to come get her.
So as a guy who never seen this movie before, I thought Laurie was somehow related to him in this movie. I don't know anything else later on, but that's what I had thought, that I thought she was his younger sister or older sister or something of that nature when I was before I'd seen this film, which obviously is not the case. But that was always my headcanon because that's just what osmosis did to me for some reason. I've never seen this movie. But because I'm watching the TV cut, there's a whole nother scene where Donald Pleasance is at the hospital and you see sister carved in the house or in the room, and I'm just like, man, I'm watching the TV cut, by the way. I can't believe there's stuff in a TV cut that's not in the theater.
I don't know. I don't know if you need that.
You don't need it.
But this is, like I said,
I like it.
This is such a trim, slim, just lean movie. I don't want more fat on these bones. I don't want this movie to get chunky. I don't know if I need all that extra stuff. I don't know. Me personally.
No, you probably don't need it. I'm just, as I'm watching this right now and I'm seeing other scenes, that's just the strange part of me where I wanted more. I actually want to watch Halloween 2 now, even though I know that's probably not a good idea. Because I want more lore. I want more canon to the series, and I know that's not what I should be doing. But
canon to what, though?
Yeah, I know. I saw the graph that I sent you guys. I know, but
to what end?
Weird thing that it did to me. Like even just a little scene. I thought so, when you first see the kid again at school, he's getting bullied, and he breaks the pumpkin. And Myers is watching him with a car. I thought maybe they were gonna kidnap him or kill him or something was gonna happen. And nothing. The movie just tenses, the music plays, suspense builds, and just drives off, and nothing happened. And I'm just like, good job, movie. You got me thinking, but you're like, nope, we're just going to hold our cards for right now.
Right.
And I also couldn't believe how long it takes the fucking doctor to get to the city. Myers is in the city stalking people, and the doctor's still just trying to drive.
I think at one point they said it was 150 miles away.
Yeah, it's a hike.
Yeah, they do, but
Mike Myers has got an easy, he's got a quite a lead on them,
Yeah.
He is long gone. Well, actually, no, because he steals the car. Who knows how long it took for them to get another one, and
Well, he uses the same. Oh yeah, if you use the same car, you just find out that he pulled over a truck. Which I like how they never even address that there's a dead guy in the corner. You just have the doctor find the clothes and oh, he changed clothes and here's the matches, and then there's just a dead guy off to the side that they just ignore. I like that. He's just there. You just see his face and he's dead.
Well, Loomis isn't police. He's not a trained observer.
Right.
Maybe of the human condition, but
yes. He carries a sidearm, as any good psychiatrist would. But sorry, that was terrible.
No, it works. If you work in this field, you're following a trained kill. Well, not trained, but you're following a killer, the evil. So I guess, yeah.
Oh man, I know we already talked about how good Donald Pleasance is in this role, but I still think this is probably the best he's been in a Halloween movie, because as the Halloween movies goes on, Loomis gets more and more insane.
Okay.
I don't know if the directors of the other movies weren't keeping Donald Pleasance in line or if he was trying to do a thing, but this is the calmest you will ever see Dr. Loomis.
Yes.
I can kind of buy that. Without knowing anything about the other movies, just the fact that he went through this and then it keeps happening. I guess that could lead to insanity. He just had one bad day. Maybe his pregnant wife died when.
Wow.
He knows where I'm going. That's why
you don't need any Joker headcanon for Dr. Loomis.
I had to, Ken.
Although, I don't know, maybe Donald Pleasance could have been an interesting Joker. Anyway.
And then right after this, you're introduced to the other girls, to Lori, Annie. Linda is her name?
Yep, Linda.
Okay, I didn't know their names until way later in this movie because either they didn't say it or I wasn't paying, or I don't know, I didn't catch it or I didn't write it down.
By the way, since we're acknowledging this part of the movie, I just have to say it totally.
Yeah.
They fit late 70s, I'm assuming. Like, one thing that Tiff wanted me to point out that she kept complaining about Lori's outfit. She kept calling her a soccer mom and stuff like that.
Oh, boo.
I thought it was
I think her outfit's cute. It's very wallflowery, but like I don't know. I think it's cute.
I just thought, and I was wondering to myself, like maybe this is more like this is how. I mean, I wasn't around in the 70s.
Look, man, it was a different time.
Lori's outfit is very functional.
Yeah.
All of her garments were put on with a purpose. It's a little chilly out. It's Halloween, so she has a light sweater on. You know,
I mean, it's Illinois. It would be cold.
She's got her tall socks too, so like she's wearing her tall socks, nice warm, like her good proper skirt, a nice like sweater, a blouse, and like she's like she's wearing layers.
She makes sense. She saw the weather report and she's like, I know what I need to get me through today in the maximum amount of comfort.
She understands she's in Illinois, not in California. So yeah,
exactly.
Which makes sense.
But just like the little stuff, like her seeing the car, recognizing the car, Myers behind the bush, but by the time she tells someone else to look, he's already gone. Like, I love that idea of seeing something, but then when you try to go tell someone else, that site is gone because then you start questioning yourself, which again is a real thing. Where you don't really believe what you're seeing in the first place, so you're trying to get other people and are like, I don't see anything. Because in this case, they don't look up. And just such good little stuff. And you get introduced to the cop at this point, which again doesn't really play much of a part into the movie. He's just there. I guess is he Annie's father or one of their father? Yeah, Annie's father.
Yeah.
Yes, he's Annie's father.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's in for a really bad day then later on when this movie goes. But I do have
not great.
God, so I had seen this scene been meme forever, but that scene when Lori gets home and looks out the laundry and he's just standing there in the laundry. I'm like, I recognize the scene, and Tiff like, well, of course you do. It's been memed to death and everything and parodied. What it was.
And then she looks again and he's gone. And it's like once again that damn stealth high bye.
I like it though. Like I like how you just you start questioning like what the hell is going on, and the idea that they don't really expect that it's somebody going to kill him, which again makes sense. Why would you expect it to be? They're like, why the fuck is this guy walking around with a mask on? Like what the fuck?
Well, that's also the nice thing because it's Halloween. It's not really out of place for a dude to be walking around with a mask.
No, it fits. And
while we're talking about functional, like Laurie dresses functional, Michael dresses functional.
Oh yes, yes,
like just straight up dark blue.
Yep.
Coveralls. It'll blend in with the darkness and the shadows. Like that's a good outfit. I'm really glad he killed that tow truck driver.
Took his clothes.
Yeah, he knows what he needs to do that day, and his planner is full, and he is not going to be taken for a surprise. I have work to do. And no time for zhuzhing. Speaking of style,
he looked at him and eyed him up to see to make sure it's the right size, and like in Terminator went, okay, you're the right size, I'll kill you.
And speaking of style, Annie has a jacket that she wears. It's like this weird. It's not weird. It's like a flannelly type jacket. I want that jacket. Like that's a really cool coat. Like she's walking around with it in her arms. Like that's a really cool coat. So the styling in this film. Hats off to the fashion designer, the production designer who put this together because boy, oh boy, everything is spot on.
I'm not sure if this is like all the way correct, but apparently for the fashion in this movie, Jamie Lee Curtis was given a budget from the movie staff, and she just bought it. She bought a lot of the characters' outfits from JCPenney. Like, so just like very basic. Yeah, just
it works
basic,
though. Yeah, that's all you need.
Yeah, very basic store clothes.
I assume they all just pulled out her closet before walking on set. That's what I assumed, but that makes sense too. Again, this is it all works very well.
Oh, and fun fact that nobody asked for, but I was watching YouTube. Apparently, like because you see dead leaves throughout the area because it's fall in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Apparently, Robert Englund was working with someone else. His friend was on the set, and he was bagging up dead leaves on this before he got other movies. So Robert Englund actually was somehow involved in the production of this movie.
Amazing.
I was watching some interview thing. He's like, yeah, I was on the set of Halloween. It turned out. He's like, I was just my buddy's like, hey, I got a job. He's like, we go pick up dead leaves. He's like, okay, sure, whatever.
A lot of those leaves that you see are reused over and over again.
Well, it ain't the Midwest, so and it's springtime.
Like if you only got $300,000, you can see every cent on that screen.
Oh,
God,
yeah.
They made use of their money. They were smart. You have a small scene where then Laurie is waiting for the car, and then also it jumps to the doctor where he's at the cemetery. And I like this where he goes to the cemetery and the gravestone's missing. The body's been dug up. Was the body dug up or just the gravestone's missing?
Just a gravestone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't there a hole? Isn't there like a hole there?
Yeah.
I thought it was the body,
from,
but just the gravestone.
That's the hole from the gravestone. I am so dumb.
I thought the same thing.
I looked at it and just realized, that's the hole for the gravestone.
I was
dummy.
like, was she cremated?
Yeah.
I'm like,
man, that's a small body.
That's a tiny itty bitty body. I swear to you, that's what I said to myself last night or 2 nights ago when I watched it. That's a little itty bitty body. Wow. Am I a dullard?
I thought the same thing that he dug
You can
in the
now
body.
hold that over my head for
hole.
all time, Ken. You can now hold that over.
No, I won't. I can't.
I appreciate it.
That's rude.
Oh, but I did appreciate when Annie and her are driving in the car and they're playing "Don't Fear the Reaper" by Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
great.
yeah.
I really like that song. I like Blue Oyster Cult.
Also, you'll have to forgive me if I sound if I talk a little fast during this podcast.
It's fine.
You see, after this recording, I have a date with Ben Tramer.
Well, somebody's got to take him to the damn dance.
I mean, really?
Oh, hey, Laurie's still alive at the end of this movie.
Don't worry, you'll see Ben Tramer in Halloween 2 if you decide to watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm 100% on board to watch it, by the way. So that's saying something, isn't it, right there, Ken? I can't say I'll be on board after 2, but I'm on board for 2.
Yeah, 2 is a movie.
I know the quality bears dipping, doesn't it? So, not like Hellraiser. You were like, you need to watch more of these, and this, we're like,
oh yeah, Hellraiser covered the whole series. Halloween.
And I like how subtle it is when they're driving and they go and they run into the cop dad, and he's at the hardware store. Oh, some kids broke into the hardware store and they stole some rope, a knife, and some other stuff he says, and I'm like,
a mask.
Oh, is that where he already had the mask?
He robbed the hardware store to get the mask.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Because they were having a 2-for-1 special on old Star Trek masks. That's what he was there for. He's like, they only have the Shatner left, and I can't be Spock. So, the 2 shows, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, that's good though. Okay, I guess I didn't get it. I'm going to rewatch this movie, damn it.
And where does the rope come in?
It doesn't. Well, I guess maybe the guy that's hanging upside down when he dropped, but no, I think he just placed him up there. Yeah, there's no rope.
Yeah, I don't know. Good question.
If you're gonna point out the rope is missing, I expect rope. It's Chekhov's rope, people.
It is. It's Chekhov's rope. Well, hey, listen. Even though he didn't use it, he was prepared. He was prepared. He was prepared for every eventuality.
Rope does make sense.
He went to the Boondock Saints School of Preparation.
I got my fucking rope. Oh god, I need to watch that movie again, and also for this podcast.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you do.
If you're gonna watch a dude bro movie, at least watch a good dude bro movie like American Psycho. Ironically, I call that a dude bro movie, written and directed by women.
I've never seen American Psycho, and I don't know if I want to change that or not.
So good. It's so goddamn good.
I think you should. I don't think I love it as much as Kyle does, but I think you should. I think it's worthwhile.
American Psycho is one of the most feminist looks at just psychotic, toxic masculinity. It's so good. It's a more interesting movie, I think, than good. I like it fine, but yeah.
I just know parts of it, and I've just been very turned off by I'm like, this movie looks like this is not in my wheelhouse, but it's on my list just of things I feel like I should have watched. Mm. I'm also a big fan of Christian Bale because of Batman. So so I'll give him a try. All right,
he's really good in that.
Let's see. Oh yeah, then you have Jamie goes to the house to go watch. To be the babysitter. You also have a small scene where the doctor is talking to the cop and telling him, oh, hey, this evil is coming to your town. And the guy's like, nothing happens here, buddy. I do like that they're very dismissive of this murder, which, again, makes sense. That feels like a cop in a small town or, it makes sense for the Midwest, especially in a movie. And I guess I appreciated that a lot. I do appreciate the doctor also, he's not insane in this movie or anything, but just the stressfulness of him, and I do appreciate that a lot.
One thing I do like about that scene is that Loomis is like, "Oh, he's dangerous. I have a license for my gun, officer. It's cool."
I love that. Love that.
I like that.
He's just tired because, like, Sheriff Brackett immediately is like, "Oh, he's so dangerous," and you let him out, and he's just like, "Man, Loomis tried to stop this. I felt bad."
Loomis is really a victim of circumstance here. He wants nothing to do with this. He just wants him to stay in. Yeah, he just wants to stay. He wants to stay in the facility, never get out ever, so we can all move on with our lives. But nope, and it's not like he let him out.
No, he didn't say, "Hey, you get a day pass."
Loomis took him out for breakfast one day, and oops, there he went out the bathroom window.
Son of a bitch. That's why you don't go to IHOP.
That's it, exactly, right?
Hey, Michael just wanted the stuffed French toast. Sometimes you just really want the stuffed French toast.
I'm not gonna lie, that stuffed French toast is to kill for.
I say, you know what? That and I say standard IHOP pancake and the omelet, because they put a little bit of pancake batter in the omelet, evidently, to give it extra fluffiness. And let's be honest here, if we're gonna go down this road of the International House of Pancakes, has anybody ordered like a burger from there? No, who would? What?
No, of course.
I got a crate probably before.
I would murder a few teenage girls for those cinnamon bun pancakes. Those are great.
Oh, cinnamon bun pancakes are great, but I'm saying, has anyone ever ordered like a dinner food?
Yes.
Like, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I used to work at IHOP.
Oh, really?
There.
Oh, okay. So then you definitely did. Okay.
Yeah.
I've always wondered, like, why do you have that piece of the menu? You could save so much money. Just no one goes there for burgers and fries.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I promise you, between the hours of 11 p.m. and 3 a.m., that's all you're serving. You're serving up greasy diner food to get the drunks through the night.
That makes sense.
That does make sense. I grew up in northern New Jersey in diner culture. So for me, going to IHOP for like a set of disco fries does not sound like anything a true born New Jerseyan would do. But anyway, sorry, we got off.
No, it's not.
No, you go to a diner. But that's interesting.
Anyway, everybody go check out IHOP. But
but another scene that makes you jump is when, like we were talking about with the gun, but the reason why he pulls out the gun and shows them the license because they're in the old Myers house, and then that gutter breaks and hits the window, and you have a little jump scare. But again, it's building the tension up, and nothing happens. You're like, we made you jump, but everything's safe.
Yeah,
like false insecurity.
They make you jump, and they hit you with that musical stab, like the loud music. And John Carpenter even calls them cheap scares. And he's not wrong. I feel like everybody watching this movie learned exactly the wrong fucking lessons from it.
Yes.
I mean, they're cheap scares, but they work because of the music and the sound design to build that tension. And there's enough stuff happening to keep you entertained and in suspense.
Oh, we haven't even talked about the music yet.
I was gonna say, I mean, we can do a whole section on the music, which is just extraordinary. But you make a very good point, Ken, about how everyone took the jump scare, which is it wasn't the origin of the jump scare, but really in that frame, like quick, the music being effective, etc. They all took that and went the wrong direction. Everyone started making cakes with nothing but frosting, because jump scares should be the frosting on the cake. It can't be the whole cake. And then directors just say, we're going to make cakes made of frosting. And that's where that all fell apart. The music is so vital. Imagine seeing this on mute. Yeah. It would be intolerable. It would be intolerable. Beautiful. Like you said, Ken, there's at least a dozen scenes in this that could easily be the movie poster because they're that stunning and gorgeous. But without the music, this just doesn't work as well. And that iconic Halloween theme is perfection. I don't know any other way to say it. I mean, I don't know. I try not to use that word flippantly.
It's simple. It is a very simple, like, keyboard riff and just a little bit of drum tracking in the background. And it's so effective. And everybody's done, like, if you have a keyboard in your band, you've probably done a cover of the Halloween theme.
Yes.
9 Inch Nails has done a cover of the Halloween theme. It's great. But like it's a song that you hear and you immediately know. And nowadays, that's all John Carpenter does. He does music, plays video games,
Yeah.
And he likes talking about basketball.
Dope. What a great. Hey, listen, he's earned it. He has earned to live the life he wishes. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
And I'm glad that he's gotten like what is mostly like a redemption song for his career, because like, man, like so many people really dunked on like a lot of his filmography, but then like when the critical renaissance happened in like the 2000s and the 2010s, it was like, yeah, good, he's finally getting the recognition he deserves, thank God, because like a lot of his movies like just kick ass, like Halloween, The Thing, Starman, Big Trouble in Little China.
One of my favorite movies of all time.
They Live, like that movie's a masterpiece. They Live, like In the Mouth of Madness, like just so many great movies.
I would love to cover the full Apocalypse trio someday.
We've talked about this before.
We talked about it during The Thing.
Okay, what were the three of them again?
Prince of Darkness and In the Mouth of Madness. Those are the other two.
Was The Thing the first one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm definitely up for covering more of his stuff now, especially after this. And I just watched They Live recently for another podcast, We Went to Fantasy. So I'd be up to watching that again too, because I own it. So I bought that too. But no, I'm definitely curious now, especially after watching this and realizing how much I enjoyed this movie. I'm up for more. I do another thing that I thought was good, like just to build backstories when the doctor's explaining how he met Myers, and this is when he really goes on about like how the kid is pure evil and stuff.
Yeah,
that's all that's there. Like again, I like that stuff. I thought it helps build attention, or maybe not tension the right word, but it helps build, like, gives you more reason to fear what's coming and to build up your own version of what you think is going to happen soon.
And that's the really cool thing about this movie, is that there is no opportunity for you to identify with Michael Myers, to feel bad for Michael Myers. He is just a force of nature who's going to come here and fuck shit up. Like, that is his purpose, his raison d'etre, if you will.
Mm.
And he's just going to make everybody sorry that it's Halloween.
Fair.
He
is there to ruin your holiday.
Yeah. And I love that Loomis's speech is like, I met this 6-year-old child with the blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes.
Blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
Like Jaws didn't come out 3 years before. Nice try. I see what you did.
That's exactly.
That's a Jaws reference?
Yeah, that's Quint's shark speech.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never seen Jaws, by the way.
What?
Don't ask me why, okay? I got nothing.
You've never seen Jaws.
Nope.
That's one of the greatest movies of all time. Oh my God.
Telling me.
Yes, because it's true.
I want to see it. I just haven't gotten around to it, and I don't know why. My wife says the exact same thing to me. She's like, how would you not have seen Jaws? And I'm like, hell, I didn't see this.
It's a masterpiece.
It's going to be a show. I want to see it.
It's fine.
Oh, and then this is when everything becomes nighttime in the movie, when you have... So I was very confused, and Annie's over at this house. Was that Annie's house, or was she babysitting somebody else?
She was babysitting.
Annie was babysitting Lindsay Wallace.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
I want to give a shout out, speaking to that, of Annie babysitting Lindsay. I want to give a shout out to one of my other favorite characters in this movie. And that character is the big ass bowl of popcorn that Annie makes. Shout out to that character.
Yeah. Well,
I am a big fan of big ass bowls of popcorn.
He's a terrible babysitter.
Oh,
yeah, but it was the 70s. It was a different time. Okay. I'm just gonna put that on a soundboard.
I mean, I'm sure that's not that.
Well, she's just like, okay, well, the brat's watching TV. I'll make her a snack, and she'll shut up. And
I mean, that part was fine. The part where you have your friends over to go fuck upstairs. That's the part where I was like,
exactly.
Well, maybe not that part. Like,
she's watching TV and eating her snack. She's not going to notice anything.
Yeah, she's watching The Thing from Another World.
Yeah, exactly.
That John Carpenter would remake 4 years later.
Oh, and just little things like when she's on the phone. When what was her name? Amy.
What?
The girl Annie.
Lindsay.
Not Lindsay.
Okay.
Lord.
Lindsay's babysitter.
Okay.
Annie. Sorry.
Okay, my brain just
referring to the little girl. I'm sorry.
No. So when Annie's on the phone and the dog starts getting upset, I was like, oh, I know where this is going. And then it didn't go there. Like she starts stripping. I'm like, why are you stripping? Like where? Like I'm like, okay, you still, I was just. And then she goes to the laundry room. Like, all right, she's gonna die in the shed. Also, why the fuck is the laundry in a shed? But I guess it was the 70s, right?
It was a different time.
In California, where
They don't have
I guess it's
basements.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, Illinois, you wouldn't want to walk outside like, hey, I'm going to wash the clothes. All right, honey, make sure you put on your snow pants, your winter jacket, your hat, your gloves, your scarf.
Your boots.
Yeah, we have basements in Illinois because we don't have earthquakes like California.
Oh, that's very funny. It's very good. You're right. Yeah, that wouldn't
Also-
fly in Texas either because we don't have basements in Texas. At least in Austin, we don't.
Well, you got flooding to worry about. You got people
exactly.
We do.
Yeah. Also, heads up, the voice of the boyfriend on the phone call that calls for Annie when Lindsay picks up, that's the voice of John Carpenter.
Oh,
Yep.
that's cool.
Good old
Yeah,
Paul.
Hi, Annie, this is Paul. Like that. Yeah, that's John Carpenter.
And when Annie got stuck in the shed, I thought she was going to die in the shed. Like, there were multiple times I'm like, they're going to kill Annie. And nothing. Like, the dog dies, unfortunately. But they just, Annie just keeps getting by. It isn't until, when Annie brings the kid across the street, she's like, here, Lori, watch this other kid. I'm going to go pick up my boyfriend. And then when she goes to the car twice, and I really appreciate, she goes once, the car's locked, goes to get the keys, goes back to the car. Wait, that's not her car, is it? That she's getting into?
No, it's not.
The fuck is this? Is a terrible babysitter. But when she goes and opens the car and she doesn't think anything about it, she sits down and she goes, wait a second, why is the door unlocked? And I love that. Like, you can see it in her head where she's like, wait a second.
Well, plus all the windows are fogged up on the inside.
Oh yeah.
And that right there is some storytelling.
Mhm.
Yes.
Give it up for John Carpenter and Dean
Hell
Cundy.
yeah.
Oh,
High five. High five.
Yep.
Did he stab her in the head or he just choked her?
choked her out.
Yeah,
Okay.
choked her.
Maybe that was the rope.
No, he's got pretty strong hands, that guy. So I think
Oh,
he's just
Yeah, he does. He does.
clamp down.
Yeah, and then he kills her. That was a good scene. And then, when it goes back to Lori in the house with the two kids, and the boy looks outside and he sees the boogeyman again that he keeps referencing because of the stupid kids way earlier in this movie said the boogeyman's gonna get you, and he just sees this guy carrying Annie, but by the time he gets Lori to look, Myers is gone. Just little things that I'm like, oh, this is great.
I just want to know how he knows that somebody's watching him.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to stand here. I'm going to wait. There, that little shit's pointing at me. All right, behind a tree. If you got to think about it, this is some A+ petty bitch level shit. He is dramatic as the day is long. Michael Myers is queer culture. I'm going to say it.
All right.
This,
I love
that outfit, the hair, the being a drama llama, Michael Myers is queer culture. That's it. Done.
I love it. Well done.
That's why in the third act, when he's chasing after Lori, when Lori's screaming, he's like, "Yes, Queen!"
Yes.
The part that bothered me is when Linda and the boyfriend show up at Annie's house after Annie's been murdered and supposedly left. And they're just like, well, hey, you know what? Annie's not here. Let's go upstairs and fuck in someone else's house.
Well, look, that was the plan the whole time.
It really was.
Oh yeah.
They were going to go over there to fuck. So, all right, Annie's not here. She probably went to go get Paul so that they can fuck. Well, let's get a head start on it and let us fuck.
But I was just thinking to myself, why are you fucking in someone else's bed? In someone else's house or babysit?
Why wouldn't you? That's a new bed. That's
everyone has a
different.
Everyone has a checklist, right? I mean,
Yeah.
You guys don't?
Okay. That's a story.
It is. It is a story.
Hey, did I ever tell you about that time I fucked in Sheriff Brackett's bed? Dope.
Dude, wow. Those were the times. Did we bother changing sheets? Nope. No.
Nah, it'll be funnier this way, trust me.
Way funnier. That's right.
All right, fair. I love when, so Linda and the boyfriend, I forgot his name, are in the bed together.
Bob.
Bob, after they have sex and everything, they're smoking, which again always makes you laugh because I'm not a smoker, but I know that's a thing.
I am, and it is the thing.
I've dated smokers. So it was just funny to me because she's like, go get me a beer. And then when he goes downstairs, because again, it's a guy, so they had to dress him back up and put his pants back on and everything. But when he gets murdered, it's a good scene. how Myers just starts choking him, holds him up, and then did he stab him in the heart? Then I guess because he died. He just looked like he died kind of quickly.
Stabbed him kind of in the torso area, but like with the amount of force that you need to drive a knife through the wall and pin somebody there, it doesn't really matter where you get stabbed. You're fucked.
Good point. But and I guess there's supposed to be symbolism to why Myers puts on the white sheet on himself and then goes upstairs
because he's racist.
I didn't read that one into it. I didn't read that into it, but
no, I think it's supposed to be something with him being introduced to sexuality early. What somebody said, I don't know if that's true, what they were actually going for, but I laughed a bit when he goes upstairs and he's wearing the sheet. He put the glasses on the sheet.
It's very silly. I mean, it is very silly yet sinister. And it strikes a good balance.
And he's just looking at Linda. And she's like, "You like what you see, Bob?" And he's just standing there. And she's like, "Where's my beer?" And there's no beer.
He's probably feeling very confused. Like he has some conflicting emotions here.
Oh, sure.
But I think that because she's topless, he immediately like, "Oh, this reminds me of my sister.
Yep.
I have to kill my sister."
Yep. And if we could just backtrack a teeny little bit to we were talking about how come the boy mentioning him as the boogeyman.
Oh, yeah.
I really love when movies and Halloween does this exceptionally well, takes scary stuff and distills it down to what a child would be afraid of, because I think that really allows us to connect, because all of us were afraid of the dark at some point. All of us had said to an adult, there was something in the closet, and there's nothing in the closet, and you feel like an idiot because you pointed out something in the closet that wasn't really there. And that kind of idea of a child being right is really appealing, and I think connects with us on a deep level, because as kids, I think we all want to be understood and heard. So that's why I love when movies do that, when they make the kids right. And so I just wanted to touch on that real quick before we got past it. But yeah.
And like touching on the boogeyman thing, like every culture has their own type of boogeyman myth. Mm-hmm. You know, the bogeyman in England, if you want to be, a dick about it. But like there's so many different cultural variants in, Latin America, in Spain, like everybody has one. And by putting Michael Myers in a mask like that, in coveralls that are very unremarkable, he becomes a universal threat. Like anybody watching this is like, oh, I don't like that. It's the boogeyman? Oh, I don't like that at all. So, like, it's really cool the way that it is, like you said, distilled down to that. Because everybody, even the adults in the back of their mind, remember the boogeyman.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's unsettling. It's very unsettling. And I think that's what John Carpenter does very well, is unsettling. Yeah. Again, not unnerving. It's funny, after watching Hereditary, for some reason, obviously you have the Google recommends things for you on my phone. It's constantly giving me BuzzFeed articles to read, or click listicles to read. And one of them was about it was a video from The Office. It was like 6th season maybe, or 7th season. I don't know how many seasons of that. But it was one where, and it was after I stopped watching it after like the 6th season, so I don't know the characters. But I think it's a character, Gabe, who's really creepy. And he makes The Office watch unsettling cinema for Halloween.
Oh God!
And it's like all black and white, and it's just scenes of someone cutting a birthday cake and blood and black stuff coming out of it in black and white, and like somebody chewing slowly, and it's all unsettling cinema. And all I could think was like, did Google give me this because I just watched Hereditary, which is full of unsettling crap? And I don't know what, maybe that's what it was. But unsettling is a very unique sort of fear thing, like a thing. It's a very unique sort of emotion, I think. Unsettled. And something's not right, and I don't like the fact that it's not right. And I think that is pretty universal as well.
I think Germans had a word for it. Gosh, what was it? I want to say it was unheimlich.
And in that Office scene, one of the shots is Stanley like getting into the car from the view of the back seat, and so clearly it's stuff that he has shot. It's like his unsettling cinema feature. So yeah. Anyway, I'm like, I want to watch more of this unsettling cinema. Seems actually really cool. You're pretty. You got a good eye there, Gabe.
I like the murder scene of Linda where she calls the phone or she calls Lori and then she's just getting choked and Lori thinks she's just having sex on the phone. Like, why do I gotta hear you have sex? Like, it was just, I don't know. I found it amusing.
Oh no, it's very amusing.
So
because she had just gotten like that call from Annie earlier where it like disconnected or she wasn't on the phone and she thought it was a prank call.
There was no sound and then she heard like a bit of noise and she thought it was some creepy person and then she calls back and like, oh, why'd you hang up? She's like, oh, well, I didn't hear anything. Sorry, I was chewing food. And it's like, why the hell would you chew food in the middle of a phone call? Like, eat your food and then phone.
I have done that, especially in the 90s.
Yes. So like this makes sense because if Linda's calling from Annie's house, then, Lori's probably like, oh, great. Annie told her, and now this is a funny thing we do to the Girl Scout. Ha, ha, ha. You guys
yeah, because you also had the thing earlier where Annie tells Lori that guy is going to go on a date with her. That she wants to go on a date with him.
Yep.
Good old Ben Treamer.
So, I mean, more stuff that fits where it's going. And I another thing that I found amusing was how the doctor all of a sudden notices the car outside Myers' house, like, and he's been there for hours. Like, oh, look at this car that I never paid attention to. I was amused, like, he didn't notice the car sooner, buddy.
It's an unremarkable car, though.
But you think the logo on the side of the car would get your attention.
Was it on both sides?
I think so. I'm not sure. I also read a lot. Like, in general, if I see something, my brain will read it. Maybe that's not normal.
No, I mean, I think it makes sense, but
yeah.
Why aren't you a psychologist, Mike? You could have saved Haddonfield, but
I wanted to be a cop when I was a kid. I wanted to be a detective. That never happened, but that was one of my things I wanted to do as a kid.
Yeah, I couldn't do it. Don't like the taste of boot.
I also want to be an artist. I want to be an artist too, and I guess I'm an artist now, somewhat, right?
You are an artist, my friend. This is your art.
It's creative.
This
is art.
I just can't draw. That's the fact.
But I can't either.
I can record.
I can't either.
And then I think this is when finally after... Yeah, so Jamie's been at the house. She notices weird shit going on in the house across the street. The lights go off. The lights are on. The lights go off. And, she had the weird phone call. So finally, she put the two kids to bed. And she goes across the street to go investigate to see what's happening. And this is when the movie, like, all the tension... I mean, you had a few bad things happen, people getting murdered, but everything's building up to this part. And I feel like this is when it gets... Like, the suspense finally pays off. And it's so good. I really enjoyed everything that happens from here on. It wasn't like we've been making jokes Hereditary where I was like, oh, fuck, I freaked out. I was on the edge of my seat, but I was completely entertained and ready for that. And I knew she didn't die, so that helped. I knew she couldn't die because there's sequels with her in it. So.
Yep, and you got your final girl. Oh, you love a final girl.
Gotta love it.
Hell yeah.
I really do. I mean, I didn't realize it was a thing for me, but it is. That's my thing. So.
Final girls are my superheroes.
That's a t-shirt.
I like horror movies where the final girls. I like that idea. So I'm definitely gonna watch more horror movies that have that theme. But just like the way that when she goes in the house, like she goes to the front door is locked, nobody answers. She goes to the back door, sneaks in the house looking for her friends, and everything is so dark and like you're just waiting for Mike Myers to jump out any second, and just nothing happens. She just goes around the house, goes upstairs, and it isn't until she gets upstairs when she finds Annie in bed, dead with a tombstone there.
Yeah, with not just any tombstone, the tombstone.
She doesn't. Well, I'm assuming she knows the story of the Myers, so yeah.
That seems like a boogeyman story that everybody in town knows, I would imagine. Because even that little kid, like, it's years later, and he knows.
Oh, yeah, when you have the bully kids that go to the house and then the guy scares them off, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really like what Donald Pleasance was doing there.
Scaring kids.
Like his voice, it sounded a little racially coded.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, no, it sure did.
Get on away.
That's right.
As you said, Ken, it was the 70s. It was a different time.
It was a different time.
Where racism was okay. Before it wasn't, and then it was okay again, unfortunately. But it wasn't. We thought it was in this country for a bit. I had to.
That's okay. It's fine commentary. That's what we're gonna
Oh, and then like again, as anyone who knows me, I don't like horror and stuff like that. But like, I guess this really isn't that much horror. But like, Bob pops out of the ceiling, and he's just hanging there dead. I laughed.
Oh, I didn't quite laugh. It was Yeah, it's pretty ghoulish. Again, a lot of this stuff, I don't want to say quaint because that definitely diminishes what it is. But this is really effective stuff. I mean, this is now
maybe not.
everything
laugh,
is.
but I think I was more. I laughed at not like laugh. Like I was like, oh, like I just thought it was just funny that he just drops out in front of her, and then Linda's like he shoved Linda in like a cabinet or something.
Yep, he just shoved her in a cabinet. That's it. Ran out of rope. So they shoved her in the cabinet. This is really excellent because this is the movie ratcheting from 5 to 10. Yes. Like it just hits the gas pedal at this point. Now, mind you, this movie's gas pedal is not that fast. It's like, 1920s Model T. But
fast enough.
It's fast enough for this movie. This is when we're now getting down to brass tacks. This is when the rubber is hitting the road and we're now a moving. All the great buildup, the setup to this moment of again, and even like I would say even the killings have been like set up to this part where you have the body and the tombstone and all of it's presented here. And now it's now she knows, Laurie's aware of what's going on. There's a killer on the loose. Her friends are dead, and it is now time to run and scream and defend herself. So this is when we start really ratcheting a bit.
Well, yeah, and she does like. They even handicap her in a sense where they have her get cut and then fall down the stairs so she's injured the rest of the movie. Like,
but she really? Because she seemed pretty. I
mean, she's limping a few times, doesn't
she? I'd try. I mean, that's fine. She fell from quite a height. I mean,
You wouldn't be okay.
No,
I'm pretty sure. But I guess in this situation, you don't have a choice. It's either don't be okay and be dead, or suffer and try to survive. I guess you don't have a choice. I don't know. I just like that they had to injure her somewhat to make her equal playing level as Mike Myers. It felt like that's all I took it. And there's that one scene when she's in the house and she's crying by the closet, and all of a sudden you just see Michael Myers' face in the corner before he walks out into the frame to stab her.
Oh, so good.
Exceptional framing. Exceptional framing.
It is, and I appreciated it.
Good. I'm so glad. Glad.
It's all your guys' fault because, like, when we were earlier when we did this podcast, we were watching Marvel movies. I'm like, oh, this is fun, and now I'm just like critiquing movies with you guys.
Perfect. We should watch them all again, Mike. All 58,000 of them. No.
Yes. I don't even want to watch the new ones anymore. Like cover them for the show.
Done.
I'm just like, yeah, whatever. I mean, MCU is going to reboot itself at this point, and we're going. They're gonna, yeah. So, but. A little part that I thought was interesting that got me curious how he did it, but when she gets downstairs and she tries to go out the back door, but he put a rake to lock the door. How he got back in the house, I don't know, but still, I thought that was impressive. Like, he's like, okay, you go in the house, sure, you activate the trap, and then I'll seal you in. And plus, like, you think about the strength that he must have to punch through a fucking door.
Yeah,
those louvered doors are cheap as shit, though.
Yeah, you got a good point there. They got
okay.
Yeah. Whatever the 1970 equivalent of Walmart is, that's where they got those. That's all Harbor Freight. That's nowhere near.
Oh my God, that sounds like a total insult. Hey, your mom buys doors at Sears.
You know what I just thought of? If someone listens to this podcast 30 years from now, they'll be like, Sears, what's Sears?
What's Sears?
There's a new Sears stores open in California, so watch your mouth. Sears is coming back.
They're coming back?
I guess.
All right.
There.
One very believable scene that happens after this is when she's running outside and she goes to the neighbor's house and cries for help, and they close the windows and turn off the light.
I love that. Because it's such a non-Americana thing. And remember, early on when the police officer or the sheriff is saying, this is a town of families, women, not women, children, but children, families, all up and down these streets are families. And that's supposed to, I think, elicit this idea of like 1950s style Americana. Yes, we're here to help our neighbors. I had to do the voice for you, Mike. Just for you, I'll do the voice. And when in her time of peril, when she's screaming at the top of her lungs, mind you, it's Halloween. Okay, right? So probably there's lots of kids running around screaming. The person sees her through the window, sees the screaming woman who's clearly not doing this for effect. This is not a Halloween prank, and just very quickly turns out the light and shutters the window. Is such the opposite of what you would expect good old wholesome Illinois would do. It was I had a very good inside chuckle at that. I was like, that is very I don't know if that was intentional. Knowing his work, I bet you it is. And good on you, because that was a very sharp bit of commentary.
As a guy who grew up in Milwaukee, I completely believe that. And on a personal experience, as a guy in Minnesota, I once had a friend get completely drunk, like stone cold drunk, and was running down the street screaming, and nobody called the cops and nobody came out to see what was wrong. So
I don't answer my phone if I don't recognize the number for sake of inconvenience. You think I'm gonna?
I can tell you for a fact, Bill, you're not the only one. For some reason, I know this for a fact. But people don't answer the phone; they don't recognize the number.
Oh, poor Mike.
Yeah, you know, my line of work. So I completely know how that goes. But just I don't know. It's just such a good little scene because it's so Midwest America. Like it ain't our problem. We ain't getting involved.
That's the one part of Illinois they got right.
Fair enough.
And then she runs back to the other house, and then I like how like there's just enough time for the kid who's like slowly waking up to get downstairs somehow, like way faster than he should have, and unlock the door to save her.
All I could think of was if that was my kid and I was ringing the bell and I was knocking on the door, screaming my bloody head off, I would be dead. The movie would be done in that minute because my son wouldn't wake up for anything. We've had full-blown thunderstorms, Texas thunderstorms, which can be really violent and loud. House shaking, literally house shaking with thunder. And there he's up there. Nothing wakes that child up. So all I could think was like, my son would let me just get bludgeoned to death by the scary William Shatner monster.
So Bill be like, "Help! Wake up!"
I wouldn't even bother. I'd be like, "Oh, it's 11 o'clock. Crap. All right, you know what? I guess I'm just dead. There's nothing I can do."
He grabs the flower pot and goes after Mike Myers with the flower pot. Like, I guess this would be more useful if I throw it at you.
I'm going down swinging.
And then when she gets in the house, and then all of a sudden she notices the window is open or something. Again, and then like such a tense scene with her when she kind of like she doesn't really fight him, I guess, but she stabs him with a needle right in the neck.
Ow.
Yeah, you would not be okay after that.
Well, you are not
The
Michael
Shape.
Myers. No. Yeah, the Shape. They do never ever say Michael Myers in this movie. They just say Michael. Never call him Michael Myers.
But they do say it's the Myers house.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they
And
never
even
put
during
those two words together.
Right. Good point.
Even during the credits, he's credited as the Shape.
Shape. Yep.
Right, because he's so depersonalized at this point. Like, there's nothing about him that you should identify with.
Yeah.
He is the boogeyman.
Yeah.
For all intents and purposes, he's Haddonfield's Godzilla.
Yeah.
Like, Godzilla doesn't have any malice. Godzilla just does what Godzilla does. And I feel like Michael Myers is the same way.
Hmm.
Other future movies would go and prove me wrong. But in this movie, I feel like Michael Myers is less a vindictive killer and more of just a bad thing that happens.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's what they're going for in this movie. And you can definitely feel it as a guy who has not seen anything else. That's how I took it too. Oh, but I like how she takes his knife. I thought that was cool. I don't think she keeps it, but she takes his knife for a bit, and then I know she goes upstairs. Does she get attacked again when she? No, she goes upstairs. I think sends the kids away.
Yeah,
and then she gets
the kids out, and then she gets attacked.
Oh, but like when she goes in the house in the bedroom, like I thought she was gonna open the window to make him think that she jumped out the window, but instead she hides in the closet. And that whole scene of him just shaking the closet for like a good like 10 to 15 seconds, it felt like. So intense. I liked it. I don't think to myself, oh, is she gonna be quiet to like hide him, to hide that she's in there? But it's like she starts crying and like almost screaming, which again makes sense. But like he knows she's in there, and then he just busts through the freaking closet. I'm like, this is awesome.
And like after she sends the kids out, we just kind of breezed right past this. Yes. But this becomes the most iconic thing in the entire franchise.
Yes.
Michael Myers is down. He's out. Laurie is crying, just so happy to have survived. And then in the background, out of focus, just goes 90-degree turn, sitting upright, not dead. He's ready for round 2. And that is such a Michael Myers thing now. Like just the simple sitting up, not making a production of it. Just like, I'm not done yet. I have another thing I'd like to say here with my knife.
And the core strength to do that. My God. The core strength to go from prone to 90 degrees. Man alive. The sit-ups.
Yeah, and so smoothly. Oh,
You're right.
Man.
Okay. I mean, but to go back to when she's in the closet, she stabs him with a fucking, like, again, this wouldn't work in the 90s because you wouldn't have those old steel hangers that you can, grab and move.
yeah.
But it fits. I mean, you would have had them in the 70s. I mean, all mine are plastic now, but in the 70s, you would have had the metal. I had the metal in the 90s.
That's a good point.
And that would fucking hurt. I'm assuming she stabs him in the eye.
Yeah, she does.
Ooh, he would not be okay after that. Doesn't she then stab him with a knife, too, I think, after that?
Yep.
She fucks him up in this movie.
However, like Ken just said, you are not Michael Myers. you would have a problem, but Michael Myers keeps on trucking.
Yeah, he just gets
Michael
back
Myers, this is just a Thursday.
Just a Thursday. Yeah.
Oh. Because after this, let me see. Wait, he gets up, and this is when he's choking her near the end. Oh, this is when she sends the kids away. I guess I thought she did already, but no, this time, then she thinks she killed him. So then she sends the kids to go get help, and that's when he attacks her. And then when they run outside, that's when the doctor notices the kids running outside screaming, and then rushes inside the house with his gun drawn.
Somebody finally actually does something right.
Yeah, so someone makes the right move. When kids are screaming from outside, kids are genuinely fleeing in terror, maybe you should go investigate. And boy, was he happy he had that handgun on him. He's probably spent his entire career toting this dumb gun around. He bought it for personal defense. He's like, crazy people can sometimes get violent. Never used it. And just the one time he came in handy. And I don't know, there is something about the shot of a classic, like 70s era gun that's very distinct. I don't know what it is. It sounds very concussive. Prang. I don't know.
It feels good.
It does feel good. It feels really good.
Yeah.
Gunshots feel good in a place like this. My Nicole Kidman voice.
I love it.
Imitation.
But
No,
like,
you are right, Bill. You are 100% right. There was something about it that it felt good. And I think it is that 70s thing. Like, I know I watched Dirty Harry, and here, I mean, again, completely different gun, but that same idea. Like, it just rings better. I don't know.
That was the boogeyman. As a matter of fact, it was.
that iconic.
Yes.
Iconic.
And delivered with such a just meatiness. I don't know. I'm thinking of a word. I don't want to say gravitas again. Such meatiness, such depth. Oh, so good. Damn, is he good in this movie? Boy, oh boy.
And he takes what I think Mike Myers takes like 5 shots to the chest and then falls off a fucking building. Like, and I guess this wasn't supposed to be the original ending. The original ending is you weren't supposed to see him, but then they changed it to where when he looks to the thing, he's not there anymore.
Yep.
Which I like.
And that's where all the problems started.
I don't know if you mean for the movies or for the characters in the movies. I feel like you didn't mean that.
Yes.
I feel. The reason why I say that is because when I mentioned doing sequels on this show, you're like, yes. And you're like, no.
Well, here's the thing. Do all of the movies have something interesting in them? Absolutely. I will defend most movies. Like, there's not a lot of things that I'm just like, no, it's a horrible movie. I hate it. One of the later Halloween sequels has Busta Rhymes in it.
I would rather take Busta Rhymes than I guess I'll say it. I would rather take Busta Rhymes than Michael Myers impregnating his own niece.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Wait, is that a plot in this movie? Or one of these movies?
Way down the
one
line,
of the
but
sequels, yes.
Oh my god.
Way down the line.
Why?
Don't travel down this road, Mike. Don't travel down this road.
I don't think I'm
There
going
are
to be honest.
There's plenty of roads to travel down that Ken and I will gladly, and Kyle now too, evidently, will gladly lead you down by the hand. Hellraiser? Absolutely. Hey, Nightmare on Elm Street. Let's go for it. I like
The
stupidity.
Friday the 13th series. I'll gladly walk you down that road.
Trip trapping down the bridge. But Halloween,
Yeah.
Mike. I don't know, man.
I'll do it,
I'll go
Mike.
there.
I'll do it.
Oh, listen, you know me. I'll do anything. I'm an ass for being on a show. Come on now.
The only one that I'm curious about is the newer ones that came out.
Well, okay, you know what? You have a choice here. Because you watch this and then immediately go to the first David Gordon Green movie.
Yeah.
There's a timeline. You've committed to that timeline.
Yeah.
Or you watch Halloween 2 and you regret where you end up.
Because I know I remember as a kid in 1998 when H2O came out. I did not give a shit about it, but I remember it. as a thing.
Mhm.
And then, like, I know that's another, like, because I know there's one timeline which is 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, I think it is, and there's 1, 2, H2O, which is in 1998, so 20 years later, and then that one, and there's this one, then it goes to Halloween 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the timeline I heard good things about, because there's also the Rob Zombie 2 movies too, which I have no absolutely no interest in.
Those are remakes.
Yeah.
Are those any good?
Yeah.
I think part 1 is a little kind of up its own ass at times.
This is Rob Zombie.
I understand what it does. I understand what it's doing with part 1. Like, I do, and I respect Rob Zombie's vision with part 1, but I will say I actually will totally go to bat in defending part 2. I think part 2 is actually great. I think especially the director's cut of part 2. The director's cut is really damn good and super underrated. Lots of really underrated performances in that movie. I think I feel like the view of PTSD in that movie is really, really well handled, especially for Laurie as a character. And I feel like it's a lot more nuanced than people give it credit for, especially for like a lot of people I've heard describing Laurie as a character in the second movie are like dealing with PTSD, like, oh, she's not very pleasant. I'm like, yeah, it's fucking PTSD. It's not a very pleasant thing to deal with. Like, of course she's not going to be pleasant all the time. She went through a really horrible, horrible, tragic thing. And I think Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is actually really good and really underrated, especially the director's cut.
Okay, I've heard a lot of good things about Halloween 2018 and Halloween 2021. I'm because one of the podcasts I listened to, Geekbox, he's a big fan of those. I don't think he liked Halloween Ends. I think he bitched about that movie.
About which one?
I liked Halloween Ends.
Oh,
Halloween Ends. Yeah.
I think he bitched about that one.
Yeah, I really liked Halloween. Yeah, I really liked Halloween Ends. I really, really liked all of the David Gordon Green movies. I found with people really giving the blowback for Halloween Kills and Ends, I'm like, no, I would still gladly take these over like most of the Halloween sequels. Like, those sequels are fucking garbage, and I feel like people are clouded by nostalgia, and like, I get why, because there are some actually good qualities about those sequels, but like, as an overall movie though, they're frustrating and just total garbage.
Okay.
And then there's Halloween 3, Season of the Witch.
I want to see that.
That movie's fucking fantastic. I love Halloween 3 so much.
I really want to see that since I know it's not like it had nothing to do with anything else.
No, and it's what Carpenter originally wanted to do. Like, once they started asking for sequels, he was like, well, why don't we do like an anthology, like different stories that just take place on Halloween? And they were like, how about you shut up and write more Michael Myers?
And may I just say, it's very astonishing when I hear people talk about Rob Zombie like an actual artist, like an actual filmmaker. But every time I hear the name Rob Zombie, I just think, hey, I'm the one that you wanted. Like, that's all I can think about when I hear that name.
Like, even in his own...
Beast is such a good song, though.
It really is, though.
Like,
oh, my God.
But even in his own, like, way, though, I think he is very much an artiste, an artist who has his own style and has his own way of, like, directing something. And, yeah, like, I think that's something I think people seem to forget when it comes to directing. Like, I'm not saying every single director has their own style, but a good amount of directors do have their own unique styles to them. And I think Rob Zombie very much has his own signature style.
All I can think of is the man taking the song Dragula pronounces Salem as Salem. That's all I remember. So, which is
I've only seen one Rob Zombie movie, and I saw House of a Thousand Corpses a long time ago, and I fucking hated it.
Oh, that movie's pretty dumb. I love it.
But I was also like in high school at the time, so I remember renting it on VHS or something. So, but I've never seen it since, nor do I want to. But that's my only experience. But we should go on to Shelf Stacker Box. And Bill, what about you?
This is a landmark movie. It's iconic. It's important, and it's a marvel of what someone can do with just good ideas and good skill and not a lot of stuff. And I think this is a masterfully made movie for all the reasons we've said. However, I'm going to put this on the stack. This is not a movie I would trot out every Halloween. There's a lot of movies I think this is one of those I'll probably pull out again, maybe 10 years. Again, maybe with my son, like, hey, do you want to see like kind of a quaint
A good horror movie you want to
after you've seen Hereditary and Midsommar? Do you want to see like where all this stuff was born, like the genesis of all this? Like as a time capsule and as the work of a pure artist who's doing incredible work with very little. I think it's a very respectable movie, and I think it's wonderful in that regard. And again, I can't imagine seeing this in 1979 in a theater with people. I've said that a lot during this Halloween series, or this October series. But this is not something I think I just pull out to watch for funzos, and I think this is a perfect stack. Definitely doesn't belong in a box at all, but not on the shelf. No, I can't put it up there.
Okay. What about you, Kyle?
This is definitely going on my shelf. This movie's a masterpiece. I love it. I think it's so beautifully directed. I think the director of photography or the cinematography done by Dean Cundy is also just excellent, just so damn good. And I think so much of this movie still works and has such a simplicity to it that's so excellent. This easily goes on my shelf. Like, I would proudly display this, and I would watch it. I would watch it every Halloween. This is just such a damn classic. I love it.
Okay. And I'll go next. I'm going to put this on the shelf, which is weird for me to say about a horror movie. But as I said, as you kind of can tell, I really enjoyed this film. This was great. And I want to watch the TV cut now, actually, because I want to see those couple other scenes they added, because I'm curious about it. And I definitely can see myself watching this movie again. I really had a good time. It was my kind of horror movie. Not too scary. Not too gory. So my kind of movie. So going on the shelf, and I'm really glad I finally watched it. And what about you, Ken?
Like, see, everybody's brought up great points. Like, it is a landmark movie, but how many times can you watch a landmark movie? Like, I'm in probably the 30s for this movie, and I want to put it on the shelf, but I also want to put it in the stack. So I'm going to create a zone in between. I'm going to call it the stealth or the shack. I'm going to put it in the shack.
The shed. There you go.
The shed.
The shed with the
the shed with the washing machine. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly.
I'm going to put this movie in the shed with the washing machine so it can get stuck in the window and say, "Oh, step killer, what are you doing?"
Please don't tell Paul.
I'm gonna
it's good.
Sorry. I actually changed my mind. I want to put this movie in the kitchen, so I'll have it with me when I make that giant ass bowl of popcorn.
That's
Man,
fair.
That Paul. Is there nothing better than freshly made popcorn in like a pan?
Yes.
Like not microwave. Not this microwave nonsense.
No, fuck that.
Yes, to the microwave. An actual pot. My wife has has the popcorn making pot. It's a saucepan that's only used for making real popcorn with butter.
Oh.
Yes. So anyway, there we go.
All right.
In the pan.
Oh, that was good. All right, I think that's... And Bill, where can people find you at?
Oh, I do a charming show entitled A Gamer Looks at 40. It's a nostalgia. It's a buttered popcorn of nostalgia. It's just covered in nostalgia. All that. Basically, it's a collection of stories from people sharing their memories and recollections of the games that affected them personally or they love. Sometimes it's really about nuts and bolts, like, hey, I like it because of this. And when it's really singing, the show's about, hey, I really impacted me for such and such reason. If you enjoy nostalgia, retro video games, and 40-year-old people who talk about such things, then by all means, check out A Gamer Looks at 40 wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.
All right. And Kyle, where can people find you at?
You can find me on Blue Sky at chibiufo.bluesky.social. You can also find me on Instagram at chibiufo. And you can also find me on Letterboxd at Kyle F. You can find my various musings and postings about old retro video games, cute stuff in retro video games, horror, and queer stuff, and all of those in between.
And Ken, do you want to plug yourself on Twitter? Or
I don't really have anything to plug. I'm on Twitter. I barely use it.
Me too.
I'm on this show more than I'm on Twitter. I'll be completely honest with you.
I don't even go on Twitter anymore.
I do have a Twitter. I do have Blue Sky. You can find me as Kenneth Sanity or Professor Sanity on any social media outlets. I have them all. I don't use any of them. You know what? Why not? Go look at my horror writings. I've written stuff on movies. It's been a while. Go look at kennethsanity.wordpress.com.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to kennethsanity.wordpress.com. That's what I'm doing.
I will too.
Everyone should. Get on that site. Flood the...
Make me do it again.
All right. And if you enjoyed this episode, I should say, and happy Halloween, everyone. But if you enjoyed this episode, there are over 500 other episodes of this podcast. You will find everything we've done on Podbean. We've done movies, comics, all sorts of things. You'll find our whole giant catalog. If you want to support the show, we do have a... Why is my brain not working? We do have a Patreon full star. You can vote in our Patreon poll. You'll see a link in the show notes. So please go do that. Help support the show. Also, you can... Please join our Discord. You'll see a link in the show notes for our Discord. I've said this hundreds of times, at this point. And I want to give an awesome shout out to my awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Helena at Hell Hasper. You can follow her on TikTok, and you'll see in the link tree in her show notes. And want to give a shout out to another friend's podcast, No Man's Fanny. Definitely go check them out. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, same thing. Blue Sky, Threads, YouTube, audio only. I think that's everything I need to say. We will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
So long.
Happy Halloween.